There will be questions asked live. We will be answering them live, if not during the conversation, during the QA on the post side. So let's fade in. We have with us today Shad0wThe3Fall3n. You know him. We've rated him before. One of my good friends from the content creation community. He is a voice actor for Potato Monster. He's a content creator over on Twitch.tv. And I believe it's Twitch.tv/Shad0wThe3Fall3n. We'll get the exact thing for y'all so you can go ahead and follow him. The link will be in the podcast description if you were unsure. So, without further ado, let's fade him in. Shadow, it's good to hear from you, my friend. Hello. Now, I want to make sure I do this justice, or I want to make sure I do this right. It is Twitch.tv/Shad0wThe3Fall3n, correct? There's no like underscores or anything like that. Okay, sweet.
Yes, that is correct.
Fantastic. Welcome in, buddy. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Shad0wThe3Fall3n.
Hi, how's it going?
It's good to have you on. It's fantastic. Tuesday. Oh man, you know I've been talking about all the stuff happening in my life. It's been crazy. I had a slew of emails this morning. I had a call this morning, and here I am today.
Any good news?
Still not sure. Still unsure. Okay. I'm on the second round of the potential second position out in San Francisco. So we'll see. We'll see. It's I mean, that's all kinds of crazy.
Better than being on the first.
Yes. No, it's going okay. And I was telling Shadow this that my fallback. I'm so confident in my next life decision here because my fallback is already clear. If I do not get this job in San Fran, I will be 100% moving back to Virginia to go back to school. So easy peasy. And so I'm not worried about not getting the job because, if I don't get the job, I'm just going to go back to school. So yeah. Right. So but we're not here to talk about me. Exactly. We're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you.
I like talking to you. I'm talking about you. You're so interesting.
And the chat, this is why I wanted to have Shadow on this podcast because we met at PAX East 3 years ago. And it was, it was quite the adventure. That's about as much as I can sum it up at the top. Yes. Oh my gosh, the boat. I actually I pinged Potato. I don't know if I can use real names. The other day because he tried to invite me on Fortnite. And he was doing a day stream. And I was like, hey, I can't stream it now, but would love to play with you. And then he found that video, just off the cuff, and pinged it to me on Facebook, and was like, "Remember this?" I was like, "I don't know how you remember this."
Yeah,
I do.
That was a night, man.
It was a night.
That was interesting. So, I remember. So, Brent and I were. He said he was going to stop by my hotel after PAX, and I generally always have. For many years, I've always had the safe space,
right?
And I hate using that word, but in the context, it works. But I've always had the safe space for celebrities to come, hang out, chill, drink, etc., for celebrities, for pro players, whatever.
Right. Non-judgment areas.
Exactly. Well,
that's a good way.
More non-fanboy areas.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is when a voice actor, celebrity of any form, anyone of any renown is in relax mode, and then you start asking them questions like, what's it like to be famous? Or how do I get into the industry? They hate that shit. First off, quick.
It just sounds bad.
First off, you just look like an asshole, and it's not that you are an asshole, but they just got off of a full day of hanging, of pandering and being, and it's not that they don't care to answer your questions. It's
not the right forum.
Right. Yeah. They have panels for this. They have, Twitter for this. They have all these different things. In the technological age that we live in, you have 8 million ways to contact a celebrity. You don't need to
at a bar
bother them at a bar. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is that while most of them, 90% of them, would be more than happy to answer your question, it's they finally get to shed that skin and be themselves
and just relax.
Just relax. They don't have to smile. And I mean, I'm sure you've had that experience where you fake smiled all day.
Oh yeah.
Or even just real smiled all day to the point where you can no longer smile. And then you come over and you're like, oh, I'm such a big fan. And you just watch their face go from relaxed to
upset.
Hey, hey, thanks.
Right. It's like,
So if you ever
it's like
get
this
like
awkward, like, thanks, where it's
Yeah,
not,
if
it's
you ever
not at
get
all
that
genuine. And
tone,
it's like, what
yeah.
are you doing? Because
If,
it's like you can't. I know some people that would just straight up be like, hey, can you just get the hell away from me? Like
right.
it's just go away. But some people, they don't want to upset the fans, and I totally understand that. And they're just like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go over there. Okay, thank you.
Right.
It's like
and
try
so,
to
like,
subtly
stay in my
avoid.
room for cons, I have a very specific rule set, and it's kind of ridiculous. I think I'm the only person who's ever done this. At least I'm the only person I know that's done this. But I have
Right.
an actual like contract to a degree
Nice.
of if you stay in my room, and like one of the big topics
With your
is,
roommates?
okay, yeah. So like let's just say we're going to X con, and you and I were going to stay in a room. Even though I know in no way, shape, or form would I worry about you, I would still go over the rules with you.
Oh yeah, 100%. I would want to know what the boundaries are.
Right. And I mean, a lot of them are simple, like, hey, don't have sex in my bed. You would assume that would come out.
You'd think that'd be
as
standard.
normal, yeah.
Yeah.
But like one of the big ones is if any celebrity of any renown, if you were a fan of anyone and they come in here, any industry questions are off the table unless they bring it up first.
And that makes sense.
Right. And unfortunately, you would think that would be common sense to a certain degree. But the only reason these rules are in place are because so many people have broken them.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, a perfect example, Paxies, before I met you.
Okay. I was going to say, please don't tell me it was me. Speaking of that,
No.
Loru, you're not invited. It's like, no, damn.
No, you were wonderful, and you
Thanks.
were always invited. I will. No. Oh, I have to. I don't know what they're. Okay, I'm just gonna leave the celebrity. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm like
Jimmy
teetering around here. Yeah. So John. No. So there were some pro league players that I know.
Okay.
And their significant others or the content creators for League of Legends. I'm very well integrated with that whole network.
Right.
In fact, there used to be a Skype channel for all League of Legends content creators, and we were all
the
on
pre-Discord.
It was really cool. Yeah, exactly. It was really cool. So we were all hanging out, and a pro player, very, very popular pro player of League of Legends, shows up, and like he just wanted to relax. He had some girls with him, he was just trying to strut his stuff, have
Chilling.
some drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, it was one of our friends who will also remain nameless. It was his first time staying with us. And I went over the rules with him. Unfortunately, drunk him forgot the rules. So literally, you have, just picture this, a bed in a hotel room, a celebrity laying across the bed with two girls, literally one on each arm, as picturesque as that could be.
All right.
And then a 23-year-old man laying across the end of the bed, asking questions like, what's it like to be famous?
Do you see my face? Like,
yeah.
Once you said he was lying across the foot of the bed, I was like, oh God, it's worse than I thought. I thought he was like leaning against the floor or leaning against the wall. Oh man.
No, he was physically sprawled across the bed, like arm up like this,
like the reverse spoon. Oh God.
Yeah, it just wasn't good, man. And he shot me a look, and I was like, oh fuck. I was like, hey man, hey, come here. I gotta talk to you.
I gotta show you something right now.
Fuck off anywhere else but right here, right now.
Don't be here. You could literally go anywhere else.
Right. So yeah, so just because of that, I have these rules. Anyway, going back to our original topic. So Potato Monster came to my actually both members of Potato Monster came to my room. We all hung out, we drank a little bit, and then he's like, hey, we're gonna be drinking back in my room, you guys want to come back? And we're like, okay, cool. So he left. We all got ready because I have a very strict like no pants rule in general. So
I try to live by that too.
Yeah. So
who needs pants?
I'm not wearing pants right now. So
okay,
that's
we'll never know, Chan. We'll never know.
No.
Those you listening, you would be able to test it if you came over to mixer.com/LorMirth. Anyway, continue.
That was quick. That was good.
I do what I can.
Yeah. So I show up. and it's you guys were in a beautiful place.
It was big.
It was so big. It was huge, and like it was in like this cool, very bougie Boston like apartment townhouse ish area.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the
it was like Ink or something like that. It was like the Ink apartments. Yeah, it was something like edgy and stupid.
Yeah, there was like
stupid.
art on or like the entire wall was like art. It was very interesting.
Right. It was actually amazingly like, well, it was big, but there was I think there was like 15 people in there. Like we were on sleeping bags on the floor. So with one bathroom.
Hacked it. I mean, that's the con standard. Though.
Right.
Get as many people in as you can.
Cheap quote rooms. Right.
Right. So you guys, so we show up, and I just remember coming in and like Brand, the potato showing us around, and I remember you coming around the corner, and now we're already pretty drunk at this point, like, and that's being generous.
Right.
And we come in, and I just see your face, and I will never forget the moment I saw your face, because you just did not look happy.
No.
At all.
No.
And like I just remember like coming in, people were I think May was playing games on her laptop on the table, and was it Time Thor with you?
No, actually, this was Time Thor came with us last time. It was I want to try to use stream names, Lolskis, and we had two other people with us, because him, myself, Lolskis, and two others. We drove up from Northern Virginia up to Boston, and we were like in sleeping bags in like the same corner. Can I tell you why I look so unhappy?
Yes, please.
So
I want your let's pause the story now. Reverse
thing. Okay, so we were so sick, not from drinking. Like the first day, like I don't know if I just should have washed my hands more, or we had hand sanitizer. We were all doing the right things, but it was late. And we were deathly ill. Like I had been coughing for the better part of the night. I had received the Pax Pox, as they call it, like day 1, hour 6. Like I was already achy and just like couldn't think, and I just felt like death. Right. So I'm trying to sleep, and at 3 a.m., I think it was like 2 or 3, I wake up to like voices and like doors opening. And to give you an idea, chat, we're not in some room. Like if this is the front door and there's the kitchen, like there's an open area, and that's where I'm sleeping. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or quote, I was sleeping, right? So in walks these people, and I know I'm not going to get back to sleep. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to commit to this. I chugged vitamin C, like emergency powder thing. And then someone handed me a beer, and I was like, this is hydrating, right? No, it was not. So I was initially extremely unhappy, but I was just like, this is just going to happen. Roll with it. So, then pause back to you. So that's why initially I was like, what the hell, man? But yeah, go.
And he's introducing me to all the people, and everyone he's introduced me to so far is like super happy. And then I see your face, and I was like, oh god. And like, because
I was dying.
I didn't know, like, so because I'm always the host for these things, like I know where the alcohol comes from. I know what's safe to touch. I know what you don't touch. I always ask. I have I believe in some form of just being polite and not just grabbing alcohol because it's there.
Right.
So I'm like standing there awkwardly, and he's just like, grab a drink, and I'm like,
Who, me or Potato? Me?
A Potato, yeah. Okay. Potato is like, grab a drink, and I'm like,
Sure.
And like all I have in my mind at this point, now this is also drunk me, but I'm just picturing you, and I'm like, this is all his alcohol. I don't know why I thought it was all yours.
Right.
But I was like, oh my god, like he's pissed, and like I was like, I don't have any money to chip in at the moment. I don't have any cash on me. And I'm like, I'm not drinking this dude's alcohol. He's already mad. Like, no.
That makes so much sense. This makes so much more sense. Oh my god.
So I'm just like standing back, and I'm like, nope. And then he comes over, Potato, and he's like, I'll grab, let me grab you a drink. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, if you're grabbing it, we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
So he pours me the initial drink, And then, we all kind of settle in. And then the boat comes out.
Yeah. Can we switch back to me so I can preface this?
Okay.
So, the boat.
Now, did the boat start that night, or did it start the night before?
It did.
Oh, okay.
At least
so that was
I think it did.
The moment thing.
So I don't know what happened Thursday night because I believe this was Friday night. I think because we showed up. Yeah. I think this was right. So I don't know what happened the previous night, but because I don't know if my party was there yet. I don't think so. But we were drinking and just. Some of the members of my party were like, they were just like in the corner trying to sleep and just not wanting to participate. Totally fine. Understood. All of us were dying. All of us got sick. I think we might have gotten sick on the ride up just from whatever we breathed in or something. I don't freaking know. Right. But I was just chilling.
You did go through Jersey.
We did. And as my family's from Jersey, I can say that. It's a gross place. So it's just the turnpike just smells disgusting. I love my family's from the shore there, which is actually much better. It's like, it's got the ocean, it's got the boardwalk, but even then it's you go to the turnpike, it smells gross. Anyway, so we were there drinking, and at some point, so there was this I don't know what to call it. It's like an ornament. It was like a table centerpiece thing, right? And it was in the shape of like a moon, like a semicircle, and in the middle of it was like a plant with like dirt and like a living thing, right? So someone at some point in the night decides that, you know what, we're going to dump out this plant and we're going to take out this dirt.
To the plant?
It died. I think we threw it away. I think someone put it in the garbage because it was never to be seen again. So someone decided, you know what, we're going to take this boat and we're going to drink out of it. And if those can see me live, kind of like this, right? And make it so that you can have the crescent, whatever you want, the boat, angled so that the drink is going directly through the crescent into your mouth. So this was decided. Back to you, Shadow.
Okay, so they bring over the boat. Everyone starts cheering.
It's real bad.
I think this is the first time that I saw you smile too.
Yeah, and because I was just like, oh shit.
So I remember them setting it up.
Oh man.
And they're like, yeah, the boat, man. Like, if you can do a boat. And I was like, well, I've done a boat drink before, because this is not they didn't invent the boat drink.
Right.
This is very old school drinking. But usually the boats are made out of an ice slide or something like that.
Right, something to chill it or something. Not a potted plant holder.
No. And I just remember them bringing out, and it's no exaggeration to say, and you can see me, so big. It was big.
It was 2 or 3 feet long, right? It was decent.
Yeah, it was pretty damn big. So I just remember seeing it and I was like, I have to. This is, it's not actually a question. We're just going to do this.
Right.
So they were making some form of mixed drink. And I just remember them showing me, and I don't remember, in my brain, I like to think that I was the hero, but I don't actually remember because this is drunk brain.
Tell me. I could recount.
I think I was the one who suggested adding they had the ice to it, but they didn't have a way to stop the ice.
Yes.
That's what it was. So I was like, why don't we just put a cup? So, okay. So
yeah. I remember this.
See us live.
Yeah.
This is the boat. We had to put, they were just filling it with ice to chill the alcohol and then drink it.
They would hit your face. Right.
Right. It would just hit your face, or giant blocks of ice would hit your teeth, or it was just miserable. And there was a flawed concept and we had to fix it. So I just took a solo cup. Once again, here's the boat.
The moment of greatness.
Had it here. And then as you tipped the boat up, the solo cup would catch the ice.
Like a martini.
Exactly.
Right. I do remember that this was you. I do remember this because I was not super gone. I only had 2 or 3 maybe. And I do remember us going wow, this ice sucks. And then I think you were like, put a cup in front of your face. It was just
genius. About as sober as I was. Yeah. Right. that was the true moment I knew I was going to be an engineer one day.
Yes. Right. Brilliance, chat, happens in the most mundane of situations sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, I was the MacGyver drinker that night. So yeah. So then
the cup.
We drank. We were merry. I drank the boat. it was rough and cold and burning all at the same time in the best ways.
Yeah.
And then eventually throughout the night, now me plastered, gone to the point of I will need an Uber for probably days.
I'll need an Uber tomorrow.
Right. I remember coming over and talking about, you were at the counter, you were talking to someone about streaming.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, go on.
Hello, yes.
Oh, hello. Hi, yes. And I just remember having some form. Now again, I was way gone past where you were.
Sure.
But I remember us having like an intelligent discussion. I think it was about accruing an audience or something along those lines.
I think we were talking about something like I had been doing advertising for a couple years at that point, and I was like, this is how I'm going to do it. I already know how to do it. And I didn't think first of all, I was amazed that you could formulate coherent sentences after the boat. And it wasn't like I was a bartender for years, so I'm used to the so welcome, like the third speech. But while it was some of that, honestly, it wasn't that bad considering like what the ordeal you had put your liver through.
Blessing and a curse,
It is like I was able to be like, and intelligent point, and you were able to like rebut it after, granted, like a slight pause, but it was still like coherent and intelligent, and I was like, wow. Look at that. Look at this.
I think drunk me takes these pauses to really like formulate my next sentence.
You know,
I'm just like, okay, I heard him. Now let's actually, what did he say?
Yeah,
let's break that down.
Right. I think we were definitely talking about something audience focused though, like how like engagement versus like something like that, So yeah.
And at the time I was looking at going into college for communications, public relations. So I was like, oh, I like this guy. Like he's right up my alley. And so I was like, plus he looked pissed earlier, so I'm gonna be friends with this dude.
Yeah. See, and now we've talked about this prior to this podcast chat, but like in no way, and I just want to make this clear to the viewers, in no way was I mad at Shadow or any of the things. I was more mad at the situation that like 3am, like it was not 2 or 3 people. It was like, what was it, 5 or 6 people just walking in going, hey, we're gonna drink out of this boat. And I was like grumpy.
Like 6
so
people from my group plus like 4 people from your room. So it was like 10 people barging in to do this.
Right. And after the first like 5 minutes, I was like, I'm just gonna commit to this, and then I stopped being grumpy because I can't help anything, so might as well just commit to this and have a good time. So and I'm really glad I did, so
yeah. And then we played like, I think someone had like an SNES emulator or something like that.
Yeah, one of the guys from my group, he brought, it was like the size of your thumb, right? It was like a little, like, I forget the programming language, but it was like Ruby or something. I don't freaking remember. But it was some like little tiny flash drive essentially that had like 4 USB ports. Like the biggest part of it was like the USB ports. And you would plug in whatever controller you wanted to, and it could run like every NES game ever made. It was like just a big hard drive. Well, quote, big, because it was the size of your thumb. But yeah, we were playing on that. Yeah.
Yep. And then, I mean, we played until the end of the night. I remember just sitting on the couch talking with random people. Yeah. And I do remember one of your friends, understandably so, was not so into the group still talking at. I'm pretty sure we were up until like 6 a.m.
We were up to like 6, and then we woke up at like 10 and like went to the convention. Well, like I woke up at 10 because I get up with the sun, right? So when the sun's up, I'm up, and I'm hungry. You know me, I'm in a constant state of searching for food. So I got up and I went down to the Whole Foods that was like right down there, got like the 24-pack eggs, and just threw them all into one skillet, right? Because we got 15 people. So I made eggs for everybody, right? And then someone, I don't remember who, but someone was like, why do you get most of the eggs? So I just lean in. I was like, because I bought them. Like, listen, the Choosy Beggars subreddit call. It's called your name
also,
right now.
You're welcome for breakfast.
Right. But then we all got up and suffered through Saturday.
Yeah.
It was great.
I remember not waking up until probably like noon that day, and like, that was still way too early.
Oh gosh,
that was rough, man. That was like, I remember Potato messaging me and being like, hey man, you coming to the con? And I'm like, eventually.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Also, the notification on my phone is a little loud, so we're gonna have to
Right,
have
we're gonna
a
have to silence that.
announcer. Yeah. So that was rough, but that was like the blossoming of a beautiful friendship that has
It was.
evolved so much, and like it has evolved so far. Like,
It has.
from where we started. It was so strange.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because like I remember this is kind of how I roll in my adult life. Like, and chat, I've talked to you about this. Like, I have very few people that I keep up with because I just can't keep. It's just not possible. There's so much going on. Well, there's some people, like, there's so much going on in my life that I can't be like, well, it's Tuesday, time to call like this person. Yeah, I just can't do it. So
time to call Justin, Aaron, Trevor, Ryan, Dylan, Chris.
I just can't, there's so much. Like, we had one of my old friends on the podcast last week, and he's a youth pastor, and he made this really great joke, and he was like, one of the big mysteries of the Bible is how Jesus had 11 close friends in his early 30s. And you're like, yeah, exactly. That's literally that's how I feel. So, but this is so real. It's so real.
Like, people get so mad at you when you're an adult, and like I feel like as adults we should understand. Like, I feel your pain when you're like, dude, I would love to game tonight, but I can't. I have to get up early and I have to do this. I'm like, I respect that. I'll probably make a joke, probably make fun of you a little bit, but it's all in good jest because the idea is that you're doing an adult job. I understand. And
I think it comes from, like, we're all so connected. We have all these phones. I can just text you, but you know who else is texting me? Like, the potential jobs, the devs I'm talking to, I'm trying to organize podcasts. Like, if you saw my calendar, I literally have, like, it's crazy. And with that being said, I really appreciate people, chat, that I can be like, hey, I haven't talked to this person in like a year. Want to go get a beer? Enter in Shadow right here, right? Like, we literally, I don't think I talked to you in between PAX 1 when I met you in the PAX 2, but then like the month leading up to PAX 2, I was like, yo, stoked for PAX. Are you going? And you were like, hell yeah. And I was like, see you there. And then that was it. And then we had a good time. Like, that was it. And this is the kind of adult relationships that I enjoy, chat. I have plenty of friends that, like, I won't talk to for years. Then I'll be like, hey, I'm in town. Want to go grab a beer? And they're like, sure, cool, let's go. Right? I love that stuff.
I think I value that more than like anything. Like, I have old friends. Like, I grew up in Florida, and I was born in Boston, grew up in Florida. But I like, out of my Florida days, I have like 3, maybe 4 friends that I still keep in contact with, and by in contact with, I mean loosely.
Right.
I did fly down to Florida to go to a friend's wedding 2 years ago. And like, that's it though. Like, out of all the friends that have been married, it's not that I don't want to see them. It's just like, you have in life, you have limited amounts of time.
Right.
And as I get older, I'm now appreciating those little amounts of time that involve me. And realistically, like, when I go to Florida, I always go to Busch Gardens, because why would you not?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a roller coaster adrenaline junkie. Got to do that. I mean, growing up in Florida, if you're a Florida resident, you can buy a Busch Gardens pass that lasts all year.
Oh crap!
And it's cheap. It's the same price as a normal pass.
Oh my gosh!
So you pay like $60 and you get to go all year. So in high school, we used to literally get out, and if we had nothing to do, we'd drive to Busch Gardens and just ride roller coasters for 4 hours.
That's super tight.
Because we could. Yeah.
On like a
awesome.
Tuesday. That's badass.
Yeah. Like, you didn't need anything. And the best part is like, no one was there on like a Tuesday.
Right.
So it didn't matter. So we used to do that. I loved it. It was a good time. So I always have to go back. But like, sometimes I feel like if I was going to go back to Florida right now, like, I definitely see Tyler and his wife, Bethany. I love them. I'd put out like a Facebook post like, hey, I'm going to be here at this time.
And whoever reaches out to you, kind of thing.
To see me, yeah.
Right.
This is my free time. If you guys want to see me, that's cool. Other than that, I'm booked. Like, whether it be booked with family, whether it be booked with myself,
right.
Whether Dylan and I want to go do something, that's fine. But like, I feel like that's not asking a lot. But now
I don't think it is.
Like, you didn't come and see me while you were down here. How often are you in this state? And I'm like, well, I didn't realize it was my job.
Right. Well, and that's my shtick. And welcome in, RJ. That's my big shtick, is that, like, I am not a babysitter, right? And I have, because the thing I don't think these individuals realize is like, if I text you this in question person, like, hey, I'm coming to town, you want to hang out, I'm going to have to message privately the other 30 people that are in a similar situation. Or I could just put out a Facebook post, and whoever's actually keeping up with me and responds, that's who I'm going to go talk to. And and if that sounds cold, I don't think it is, because you're asking the person who's showing up to like put in all of this extra work, when really, are you going to do the same for them? You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have enough. I don't have enough time for that. I don't have enough time to be like, hey, please, listen, I know I'm going to make a group message text. Can we all, it's like, come on.
Do not have time for
Come on. I actually don't have time. Like, especially with, right. Go ahead. No, it's fine. No, after you. After you. No, you first.
It's your show.
It's your show. But you're the interviewee.
All right. Well, what I was going to say is people say people have frequently called me cold. And like, I'm to now realizing, like, I think it's just logic is outweighing emotion. And
Fair.
People frequently nowadays, especially in 2018, people think logic is like the worst thing in existence now. But to me, it's just like, okay, like you have set parameters of your time.
Right.
X is filled by this. Y is filled by this. Z is filled by this. If I am going to go to Florida, let's use this since we're on this topic. If I'm going to go to Florida and I say, I make a Facebook post 2 weeks in advance, hey, this is the day that I will be free. If you want to hang out, contact me. A week in advance, remind people, attention all Florida friends, I will be in Florida.
You literally do what I do.
Yeah, I'm going to Busch Gardens on this day. This is the only other day I have for free time. When I arrive, attention Florida friends. Like, I have now given 3, 4, 5 reminders of these are the only set points in time. And every time, without fail, I get a message of, why didn't you message me?
Yep.
Why didn't we hang out? Why? Oh, I gave you every opportunity.
Right. Like, and if this sounds like, and chat, and I do the same damn thing. Like, and I get the same responses. And it's kind of infuriating, but like, I can see where they're coming from. Like, they feel slighted, like, sure, because you didn't like privately message them. But this is, I talk to like Time Thor and like 4 other people from high school, right? And not because I don't want to, but just because like slowly you like, do the whole like slight drift apart, and then you don't invite them to one party, and then they don't invite you to the next party. And then it's not, there's no hate there. It's just life happens. And I think, and I kind of mentioned this, people expect you to be so connected with all these devices we have, and the text and the Snapchat and the Instagram. How about instead of expecting someone else to show up for you, you actually show up for them? And if that sounds selfish, chat, well, that's one. If someone hears that and thinks, well, that sounds selfish, maybe there's a reason you didn't get invited to that last party. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I cannot agree more. Mm-hmm. Like, if you think that like me not contacting you personally is a slight against you personally, you have a strange view on the world.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Your view is so askewed. Like, how can you think that this is a slight against you? How can you think that this is a personal attack on you?
Right.
Like,
is this a personal attack? Like, it's crazy. It's and I like what Antihero said. That's Mr. Junior, for those of you that are coming in from Twitch. He says there really are friend levels. I don't think that's a bad thing. I totally agree. That's like 100%. Like, I have my and it's interesting that you mentioned friend levels, because the people that are responding to these phishing things where it's like, hey, I'm going to be in town, let's hang out. I'll put out those Facebook messages. The same 4 people every time are like, bruh. Can't wait to see you. And I'm like, done. Like, Fridays, we're in. The end. Boom. Like, one of the guys that I hadn't talked to in a year and a half since I moved out to Colorado. He was one of my good high school friends. I forget I think his screen name is Gray Rider, I think. Those of you that are from VA would know him. I don't think you met him, Shadow. But I was like, yo, I'm coming into town. Like, within seconds of me posting that, again, haven't talked to this person in a year and a half, was like, when are we getting lunch? And I was like, done. The end.
Oh, yeah. That's like every time you tell me you're coming to Boston.
Right. I'm like, we're going to get a drink.
Hang out.
Exactly. Yeah. So It's fantastic.
So that's my perspective on that. I just
It's the
think,
adult life.
Yeah, like, you're an adult, you're doing things, and I'm constantly trying to pump you. I'm trying to get you motivated, trying to get you to, not that you need motivation, because
Right.
Lord, you have more energy than like 4 of me combined.
I'm glad that's the vibe I put out, because
yes,
I don't like.
no.
Oh,
Well,
man.
you do a great job of making it seem like you have more energy than 10 men. And
It's
I approve of that.
thanks. This is something that my chat said this to me too. Like, I think one of my good streaming buddies, Mert, came in and was like, Loru, you're always so positive. You're always so like go getting, and you're like going to get it. And I was like, all I could think of was that morning I like laid in bed like I just didn't want to get up. I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. Like, can't I just take stream off? I literally thought that morning, like, can't I just take stream off? I think the difference between other people, and then you and I, Shadow, is that everybody has those moments when you're like lying in bed and like, I don't want to do this, but you and I get up, right? And that's all it takes. Once I'm up, I'm like,
public perception,
just get in the shower, put some damn pants on, or did I? And then get to work, and just try that out. So I'm old. Can we Netflix and sleep? Exactly, Tootsie. Exactly.
Yo, I'm so about that. Like, I love those memes that are going around. Like, sure, having sex is great, but have you tried like sleeping, or like have you tried taking a shower, or like just the little simple things in life?
I love those. Where it's like, sure, sex is great, but have you seen one of your friends succeed in their dreams and get everything that they deserve? It's like, yay. It's like, it's so wholesome. I love it. It's fantastic.
I love this stuff, man.
It's the best.
So, that's pretty much it.
So that is chat.
I don't know, man. Twitch and ESO.
Twitch and ESO soon, RJ. That is later today. Yeah, I'm combating the WoW launch by playing Elder Scrolls Online.
Stop that.
So I have to.
Okay,
I have to.
What if I pay for your $15?
Oh, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
What are you gonna do? What if I buy you Battle for Azeroth right now?
What if I take the needle and just stick it in your arm? It's just
like,
holding up cash.
The money right now.
It's like,
I won't.
I actually know you will. So, so you're good. You're good. Oh, are you okay though? You just punch his mic, Chad. It jumped out at me, Chad. I actually can't. I know that if I open up the launcher, I'll be like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And then 4 months will go by, and I'll be like, what happened to my life? Like, I just can't do it. Like, I know myself enough. I'm sure that if I'll say this to you. If I do commit to MMOs in year 3 of streaming, which I've said is a possibility for, this is year 2 and year 3 chat we've talked about on the Sanctum channel on Loru.tv, we might commit to an MMO. I could tell you that if I do, WoW is almost always at the top of that list because I love the game. And if I join the game away from the sheer amount of bloody hype that is right now, that I will be able to keep it at arm's length. Because right now, my Twitter feed is full of like Sylvanas gifts and then those filthy Alliance gifts. You know what I'm saying? And just thinking about it just makes it come out of me. You know what I'm saying?
I want your opinion on that. Now that you brought this up, this is time. Okay. So I'm not sure if you saw my Facebook post.
I did,
but
I agree 100%.
Yeah. But I want to read this out.
Go ahead.
Chat,
go ahead.
Because this is my opinion. Now, for those of you who don't know, or those of you catching up who aren't here live, essentially, the whole fan base of World of Warcraft has gone batshit crazy right now because Sylvanas, the leader of the Forsaken, became the leader of the Horde. Oh my god, my queen! Hashtag Bay. But she's become leader of the Horde as of Legion, has taken over, and has always been, malicious. She's always been unforgiving. She's always been these things, but she was chosen for a reason. And now, in being the leader of the Horde, and now that the Legion is over with, she's striking first on a lot of this war between.
Oh boy, did she!
And yeah, she definitely struck first and hard. And so essentially, without too many spoilers, but this is just public knowledge. Essentially,
trailer's been out. Yeah.
she went to a night elf starting area called Teldrassil, and she burned down their life tree.
The world tree.
Or the world tree, yes. Sorry. Which gives them, the world trees are one of the sources of night elf eternal life, which is why night elves are no longer eternal, because the original world tree was burned down. So because they used to be immortal.
Right.
And now they are no longer immortal.
Uh-huh.
But so doing this is clearly bad, but it gets worse.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Without warning. And she did this with innocence still within and around the tree.
Didn't evacuate the civilians. No.
No. Well, okay. So that's the interesting part. If you play from the perspective of the Horde, one of the quests is inform civilians to leave. So, like, I had seen this and I had heard about this, and obviously I was chomping at the bit for the moment to play. But like, the perspective that was given to everyone else was that she just went in and burned everything down. But the perspective from Horde players was that we did go in, we did evacuate to a certain degree, and some stuff happened and shit got burned down. Now, this is my area of contention. My point of contention is that we have Horde players who are now saying hashtag not my war chief, hashtag Thrall's Horde, hashtag all this stuff, because one of the High Overlord Sarfang disagrees heavily with Sylvanas' battle
good old
plan.
Sarfang.
It misses, or it lacks honor. Now, here comes my boast.
Here we go.
I'm so angry. Okay,
let's go.
So actually, I'm going to do the Twitter version because I added a little bit extra on Twitter, and the Twitter version was liked by the voice actress of Sylvanas.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I was like, okay, I did good. I did
good. My queen.
Yes. So I said, to all those weak-willed who still fly the Horde banner, remember that this is war. If every soldier had to believe in the cause, wars would more than likely never be fought. We're going to talk about that. We follow the orders of our war chief so that we may endure, survive, and flourish. Honor may make a better story for future generations, but it will not win us the war. Without the Geneva Convention of Azeroth, we must fight with our strengths. Our war chief is cunning, tactical, and malicious. She will do whatever it takes to win the war and survive. Will you? If not, the Alliance is always taking applications. Remember that Loktar Ogar means victory or death. I choose victory.
Yeah, I was really surprised by all the, and by the way, fantastic message. I was very surprised by all of the Horde people going like, oh, it's hashtag not my Horde, and be like, yeah, you probably have Alliance alts too, bro. Come on. And outside of the like silly, obviously it's fictional chat, but the whole point is this to me. Like, when I've played WoW, like everybody's done stupid shit to everybody, right? Like, there's been preemptive strikes on both sides. Like, we're not going to debate that. What we are going to debate is this. Sylvanas seeing the single, in my opinion, most powerful race on the Alliance, the immortal night elves, and is like, we're going to kill their shit. Like, we're going to stop them before they come after us. Now,
and her reason was to shut down hope.
Exactly.
And that's brilliant.
Which is brilliant. It's a really good way to demoralize the entire squad of the Alliance, the whole thing. And I always go back to, like, how have the Forsaken been treated? Not very well. 100%. This is like the worst. This is the worst part of this crap, because it's like, all right, we're literally saying death to Arthas. We hate Arthas. Like, we don't like him. We're going to help you defeat him, even though we're his kind of creations, right? And then the Alliance is like, no, you're mindless undead. We're going to kill you. Like, would they have... Please, don't act like they're high and mighty. Don't act like they're any different than Sylvanas when they've, like, mercilessly cut down all of the Forsaken, just because they look a little bit different, just because they're a little bit decrepit. Well, a lot of bit decrepit. But the point is, Chad,
you and I...
You get what I'm saying.
We tend to align on a lot of our stance on things, and even when we don't, we're always respectful, which I love and appreciate about you more than you know.
Nah, hey, screw you. Okay, all right. So,
no emotion, no
emotion.
But essentially, like, here's my thought process, and this is interesting. Did you play any of Legion at all?
I did actually. I played a lot of Legion. Didn't Anduin like cut out and like become a little skulky,
he went
stupid
emo
head
for a few years?
Yeah, and he like.
Came back.
Didn't he like let's like talk about this for a sec. You're telling me that you're gonna follow somebody who skulks around and literally abdicates his duty to like his council or whatever, and then just kind of like walks around like what was the Legion area called? What was like the big, what were the islands called? I don't remember.
Broken Isles. Yeah.
The Broken Isles. He's just doing his own thing. He's off at some like secret mission, while he lets his like people go. And does Sylvanas do these things? Yeah, but she informs the freaking rest of the heads of the Horde. They know exactly where she is. They know exactly what she's doing. Everybody on the Alliance was like, oh.
Technically, that's not fully even correct, though. It gets worse because technically Sylvanas was still leading the assault on the Broken Isles. Whereas Anduin was nowhere to be found because Varian dies in the opening, in the opening scene.
Right.
Well, not the opening cutscene, but like the first mission you do. So Varian dies. Gen Greymane is leading the Alliance.
Which is so weird to me. That like
the
new
him.
guy, this is like so odd to me. Like you have an immortal centaur bro, right? You got like Malfurion, who's lived for all this time, and he's this wise antlered little man, and then Gen's like, I'm a wolf, I'm gonna lead, and everyone's like, okay. I'm like, why?
Well, like, the worst part is
like,
I mean, this is like, let's be honest, the amount of lore that intertwines and contradicts itself. I mean, the story's been going on for what, 30 years?
Oh gosh, yeah,
100%. So realistically, like, I understand that they have some things, but like Gen was the guy who was so scared of the Forsaken and so scared of turning that into one that he built a wall, got his entire people cursed, and forced them to become Worgans.
Yep.
Like, now, yes, he did not physically do it.
Sure.
However, he's the one who built the wall, which trapped the curse, which caused all of it. And yes, Gen Greymane has a personal hatred for Sylvanas because when she tried to kill him, his son jumped in front of the arrow. But to a certain degree, that's also not her fault. She was going to kill you. Like, so
which is
your son
kind of brings us back to the whole point of it's war.
Yes!
Like it's
like,
are we supposed to be like merciful to our
off.
enemies when they would not be merciful to us?
Right.
Like how long has this conflict been going on?
That like the Forsaken, the big difference between the Scourge and the Forsaken, because there is a huge difference, is that the Scourge is mindless undead.
Yeah.
The Forsaken remembers their life. They are fully understanding of their situation, and they have no ability to reproduce. They have nowhere to go. No one who wants them. Sylvanas just wants a way to continue her people. That's all she wants. The first time she tries it, she shows Garrosh in what was it? It was Warlords of Draenor. She shows Garrosh, and Garrosh is like, no, you're not allowed. Or no, it was all the way back in Cataclysm. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Remember that.
And Garrosh is like, no, you are absolutely not allowed to do that. You cannot use the Valajar to resurrect the dead. That's an abomination. She's like, okay, but we need the ability to survive.
Right.
Like, you're not understanding here. We're getting wiped out. My entire people are getting wiped out.
Right.
I want the ability to continue.
Right.
And he
100% is not
it. Then in Legion, she finally finds the lantern from Helya that has the capability to control mortal souls.
Doesn't Gen deny it from her?
Gen breaks it.
Comes in and is like, you'll never reproduce. You'll never do this. And I'm just like, what an asshole.
And it's like, okay, so
and yes, I'm biased, but still.
Absolutely, me too. I mean, I've always hated Gen regardless, but he was a coward, and now suddenly he's the spokesperson for courage. But
right, that's what I'm talking about.
But so my biggest issue comes with, this is a woman who was a high general in the High Elves. She fought brilliantly. She's a strategic genius. She even delayed Arthas which is impressive.
Which is nuts.
She delayed
Yeah.
Arthas.
Nobody else has done that.
Right. And then Arthas respected her so much that he did not just kill her, he brought her soul out, turned her into a banshee, and then Illidan distracted Arthas, which he lost power over Frostmourne temporarily, so she was able to get back into her body, etc., etc. We have our war chief. But she's been through trial after tribulation. She has taken an entire group of people, formed them into an able-bodied army, formed them into a insanely intelligent alchemists or alchemical geniuses.
They're the best scientists on all the Horde.
Yeah. So now you have all of these factors that she has done, and all she wants to do is continue her people, and you are going to stop her at any course of action. Every single opportunity she has to continue her people, you stop it because you disagree with it. And you wonder why she fucking burns down your world tree.
Well, this is my shtick, is that, and people say like it was preemptive, nothing happened. I was like, have y'all forgotten the last like 20 years of shit that's been going down? Yeah. You know, like people of course she struck first. And now that Legion's gone. Right, and now that Legion's gone, guess who they're going to look? What are the only other bad guys in Azeroth right now? We have like the remnants. We have the remnants of like Deathwings people, just kind of the cultists walking around, and we have just the blanket undead. Right, we have like all the undead. So of course the Forsaken are going to get lumped into that by the Alliance, who have never really seen them that way. And as a staunch Horde person, I am so for taking the Night Elves and making them mortal. I think that's huge. Like that's massive. Now, am I correct in saying that now it's only the Blood Elves? Because I know we have like the Shadow Elves on the Alliance.
Yeah, so there's, I mean, if we get into I'm a bit of a lore buff. So I mean, we're talking about the Shad0wThe3Fall3n, the Quel'Dari, but
and I guess the Illidari too.
And yes, so essentially the Illidari are technically just night elves or blood elves or different types of elves that have gone through
taken the fells,
and taken the stabby of the IE.
Then the stabby, stab.
But essentially, after the initial world tree burning from the Legion from way back in the day, I believe it was Archimon or Kil'jaeden, one of the two. I'd have to double check. It's been a long time since I read that book, but essentially, since that time, they've become mortal. Now, they're obviously growing more, so eventually they can become immortal again, and regain some little tiny bit of the power that they once had. And essentially, they finally had the largest one in Teldrassil. Had.
Had. Yeah, I have one more point after the story. Go.
Oh yeah, and blood elves are the ones who they're the children of the blood, and they are the ones who are addicted to the mana well.
The sun well.
That's the sun well. Yeah, and that's the primary difference. So the night elves were the elves that followed the teachings of like Elune, nature in general.
Hippies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the arcane users,
the high elves, right?
The high elves became addicted to, well, a section of them, a large portion of them became addicted to the Sunwell, the power of the Sunwell, and they became the Blood Elves. Then you also have the Nightborn, which were the high end elves, like Ajara. Was a Nightborn technically
before,
they're really getting confusing because technically she was a night elf alongside Tyrande and Malfurion and Illidan when they were children, well, teenagers, I guess, for elf years, which is like 400, 500.
I was gonna say like super, teenagers,
yeah, but again, like there's so many like little things that like slowly keep coming back, and it's like because now that they're introducing, like now that they've introduced the Nightborn, now like with the Solandra, I believe her name is, the Thessarian, like they have really long complicated names, but like now they're like, oh well, technically this person was involved with us then, and I'm like, well, I don't remember reading that.
I know.
So now I
wait,
have
a retcon. Wows. Okay.
Yeah, like there's so much shit, and like they keep coming out with more books, and I own them all, and I'm a sad human being. But yeah, to me, it's just like this was a brilliant move, brilliant strategically, and also it's fucking war. It's war, guys.
Right.
Like, do you realize how many people were against the idea of us bombing Japan?
A lot.
Like, let's put this in real life perspective real quick. Like, yeah, real life perspective. To this day, we are still mourning the losses. We're still feeling the impact of what happened. I mean, Japan still can't have a military force. We are their military force because of everything that happened. But like, did it win? Did we win because of that? Did Japan stop fighting because of that? Yes, they did.
I'll even say, and I know I mentioned this to you, like, as my like final point on this, because I totally agree with like all this stuff that like Sylvanas was correct in doing whatever the whole thing. In Wrath, when we go to Ulduar, we find out that Yogg Saron, the nasty old god, is responsible for creating the nightmare, the corruption of the Emerald Dream, right? Because one of his like tendrils went into the earth, reached a root of a world tree that was in Northrend, right? Now, the nightmare and even the Emerald Dream is this like chaotic. Well, the Emerald Dream is like this chaotic good, and or chaotic neutral. I would say just growth for growth's sake. But the nightmare is chaotic evil, where it's like growth to the point of corruption, right? And how we dealt with that was, didn't we destroy that world tree, or wasn't it already destroyed, or something like that? And then like in Legion, we had some nightmare stuff come back. So my point about this is, Sylvanas is potentially destroying the possibility of the Emerald Dream and the Nightmare, which I'm all about. Like, I know the Druids are going to be like, oh, the Emerald Dream is where we draw our power from. Listen, it's literally taken entire swaths of woods and turned, like, people into, I don't know if people in the Dryads, but they've, like, all these different, like, living fae things that are very... Some of them are very anti-mortal, you know, and it's more chaotic than it is tameable. It's not tameable land, is what my point is. Sylvanas is stopping that possibility from happening by burning down the world tree. I say, if the nightmare is going to persist, I don't know if it was fully destroyed with Legion. Was it fully destroyed? I'm not sure. But
so technically, I mean, you do defeat Xavius, which he is the Nightmare Lord, and he is. So when Sargeras made the deal with Azshara, the High Counselor to Azshara was Xavius.
Right.
And Xavius is he was rewarded by his newer, I guess you would call it, what do you call like half Satyr?
Right.
Yes,
Satyr.
Satyr appearance and his new abilities, and then slowly became more corrupted, and he became the Lord of the Nightmare.
Right.
But so technically it's kind of like saying, is the Legion fully gone, even though we've sealed Sargeras? It's like, well,
right. Even though Illidan's now the jailer,
until it's convenient.
But that's my point, is that, you know what would be super awesome if we could just burn all the world trees down, and then there's no chance because there's no Emerald Dream, and because Ysera's gone, dead, buried. So up in the stars. That was really sad, actually. That was really sad.
Man.
That was like, oh, goodness gracious. But let's get rid of, like, the Legion's gone, one of the big evils is gone, Deathwing's dead, like, the old gods are essentially contained as much as we can. Why don't we remove the other possibility for a big bad evil, and the only other big bad evil is the Nightmare, and let's just put them in their place and get them out of here. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Thanks, Sylvanas, for helping us out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man, I can't believe how many Horde people are so anti-Sylvanas. And I'm like, guys, it's war. She's doing what she sees necessary. Has she ever to this day done anything that we've been like, oh, no? No, okay, she hasn't, because she's a tactician. She was a general, damn it.
I just think it's because it's so brutal, right? Like, people are like, but there's innocents. Like, yeah, how many innocents on the Horde and Alliance have died in the past wars? You know what I'm saying?
Now,
like,
these are the two outcomes I see.
I didn't hear any cries then.
Please fill me in if you see another. One, this is either the laziest writing ever, and we get Garrosh Part 2.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope not, but we'll see.
I swear to God, if it does, that might be the end of WoW for me.
I honestly think so.
If we get Garrosh Part 2, I'm done. Like, if there's a raid against Sylvanas, I'll be pissed. Or, technically there might be a third one. But, okay, or there is a bigger picture that we don't know about yet.
What I'd like to see is, like, a tie-in with the Shadow Elves, you know, because they're literally serving Void Lords, you know, which is like...
Which the Void is evil, too!
Right. Right, and their alliance. Once I saw, like, I was like, these are literally elves that follow the Void. And they're like, they're part of the Alliance. I was like, proof. Alliance is bad.
You want to know the fucked up part, too? Is when you unlock the Nightborn for being an allied race of the Horde, when you talk to Thilisandra, she's she tells you that like technically they were alliance based, so she wanted to go back to the alliance, and Tyrande basically gave them the cold shoulder and was like, I'll see what I can do. We'll
whatever.
just, I'm glad your people are free now, but I'll let you know. Meanwhile, they take back Illyria, and they're like, oh, Illyria's back. Oh, she's possessed and can't control her void powers. Seems good. Let's invite her entire race to...
They didn't the Alliance blame partially blame the Nightborn for the Legion invasions and all that stuff, which is kind of unfair if you ever played Legion, because you saw they were subjugated.
Azara is the only reason, like Azara, period. Azara is the reason the Legion got here. Azara is the reason for all the bad, and she still survives to this day.
Right.
Like, and also there was supposed to be a Warbringers video of Azara, and we never got it, which was weird.
That's kind of sad.
So if you look at the initial release for the preview for the 3 Warbringers videos, there was the Jaina one, the Sylvanas one, and then there was supposed to be an Azara one. It still hasn't dropped yet.
We'll see. So, maybe for another maybe for another patch or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're holding it's all for reasons.
Like, we're all going to islands and stuff to go get the allied race. Maybe the Naga will come in and things.
Are so much fun.
Yeah, I bet.
There's 3v3 expeditions, and you can basically, it's like an Azurite race where essentially you can either like try to mine the Azurite faster than the Alliance, or you can like kill mobs that are covered in Azurite, or you can try to find the rare spawn on the island.
Right.
And then you can fuck with the Alliance while you're doing it. You can fight each other and shit. It's so good.
See, all this stuff is as Rav says, I just can't. It's too much. It's too much. I do love these games, and I do love this lore chat. I played through Legion. I got to like Mythic +8. That was year 1 of streaming. I did WoW for a couple months, and this was before we had all of our followers and before we had a lot of our core community. And I actually stopped playing it because it was not doing the numbers I wanted to on stream, and I stopped really enjoying it. That's not entirely true. I was really only playing with Zach VG and with Mr. Junior. We were just kind of shooting the shit and just playing the auction house and printing money inside of that game. Okay, just absolutely rich boys. All right, come on. I know how to play the AH. It's honestly one of the most fun things is the economic thing. That's why when I'm playing ESO, I'm like, this is super tight. But so for those that don't know why we're talking about this, BFA just launched. What is it, last night? Like yesterday. So
6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it actually popped up. Oh, there was no rolling restart,
which is fantastic. I've heard from a lot of people.
Switch.
Yeah, they literally did what Fortnite did with their like new maps, where they like had the world event, and then they and it's preloaded, so you can log in. And if you're in, you're in. Boom. Like they didn't even have to do anything.
You know how normally you have to relog or something like that? There was nothing. It literally just popped up on your screen. You're like, what the fuck? Oh god.
Right, it's time to play, and that's great. It took this amount of time, but I'm glad that they're doing something with that. So fantastic. Yeah, chat. This is now a WoW lore podcast. Okay. So,
I wish. Oh my god.
Honestly,
if we ever would just want to like talk WoW lore. I will come back for a 6-hour conversation.
Oh my gosh, I could not stop talking about it. It is one of the most deep and fantastically flushed out stories I've ever seen. Yeah. I really hope that they don't do Garrosh 2.0 though with this, because
if they do that, dude, I'll be so mad.
I'll be pretty pissed off, because I do agree it is kind of lazy writing. It's like, oh, the Horde are bad guys again. Like, it's, come on, it's.
But that's the whole thing. We're not.
That's
what pisses me off. Like, we're not bad guys. We're just trying to find. I mean, the whole war started because we were trying to find a place to live.
And there was some misunderstandings at the very beginning between orcs and humans. But you could chalk that up to like, the orcs are violent. Like, yeah, well, jeez.
So are humans.
Is that really a reason to destroy an entire people? Yeah, so are the werewolves, for God's sake. The little pups. I do like how Sylvanas in the cutscene with Gen in the throne room is like muzzle your dog. I was like, ah! I was like, losing my
okay, so
mind.
you're watching the cutscenes and
Oh yeah,
stuff?
100%. I was like, get him. I was so
And
tight.
the nod
man.
to Game of Thrones when she's like little lion.
Oh,
was
I
like,
know. I was like,
dude.
yes, call him the names. It's
Like, I'm
fantastic.
so okay with her being like a Cersei knockoff. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm
like,
fine with
I
this.
love her. Like,
Burn it down. Burn it down.
yeah,
Let's go.
like think about Cersei as a character. Like, as a character, she is a terrible person.
Oh, terrible.
God awful.
But
everyone loves
she
her.
wins.
Yeah, and everyone loves her. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. That is
That
crazy.
wasn't even the point of this, but
No,
like we
but
just
here we
went
are.
on like a 40-minute tangent of that shit.
But that's how that goes, Chad. So I have some time if you want to keep on talking. I don't know.
Hell
I
yeah,
can
dude,
keep
let's
going.
do it up, man.
Sweet.
I'm down.
So I normally ask this question, and just to give the viewers some insight, how did you personally get into content creation? Because you're over on Twitch, and if you're watching us on Mixer, and if you're listening now, we are normally Twitch streamers. I use Mixer for the live podcast, and we met Shadow over at PAX East.
By the way.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just trying to prospect, because Twitch has some nights where like the service sucks, right? And like oh, we're chat's down. I just can let's go over to Mixer, and then we're right here. I have like a redundancy, you know what I'm saying? So, but how did you start your content creation gig? How did you begin?
Oh god. Okay, let's try to do the Reader's Digest so we don't end up on a 40-minute conversation about World of Warcraft somehow.
That's right.
So
That's right.
essentially, let me think. So it started way back. I was a lowly gamer like we all are, and I remember a website called Own3D, Owned, or I guess would probably be the name you pronounce it, but it was Own3D. And at the time, I was big into League of Legends. My roommate was obsessed with it. He was
Same.
from Ecuador,
Mhm.
and he was obsessed with League of Legends. And he's like, "Hey man, you gotta play this with me." And I was like, "I don't wanna." I was like, "I don't like it." And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna show you." And funny little story about that. He didn't tell me that you could choose other characters.
Oh.
So he loaded me up, and it gave you like the initial starting gold, and like he bought me Master Yi. What he didn't tell me was that you could pick other characters. So I played Master Yi from level 1 to 20 without knowing, because I just thought that was my character. And
That's fantastic.
So true story. And I was so mad at the game because I was like, why does Jax counter me? Why would they make a specific counter so I can't even play my character? And then he's like, just play someone else. And I was like, how? He's like, buy them. And I was like, I don't want to spend money. He's like, dude, do you realize how much in-game currency you've accrued now? And I was like, wait, what? There's in-game currency?
Right.
Yeah, so it was rough. But so I started getting really
That's pretty
heavy into
funny.
League. Yeah, it was rough. I was not the most brilliant child. And by child, I mean like 24-year-old.
I would have.
Yeah. But so I was big into League. I started finding out about tournaments, got a little bit into esports, and this was like my first introduction into real esports outside of like Smash tournaments that I went to when I was an actual teenager, because my friend was like the Florida State champ.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so that was kind of cool. Like he actually won a Wii before they were released, because
Nice.
he won this massive tournament. Yeah.
Sweet.
But I didn't know what esports were. I was never really a fighting game guy. I never really got it. Like I enjoyed Street Fighter, but I sucked at it. I played Ryu. I could, Shoryuken and Hadouken with the best of them, but like
That's right.
Tetsumaki Senpuken, that was way too hard. That involved different motions, and I just couldn't do it. But yeah, so I started getting into esports really heavily with League of Legends, and I found out about I just started as soon as the first season ended. So season 1 of League.
Okay. Wow.
I started playing, or started watching more, and I kept listening to the announcers, and I was like, I love this. I want to do this. Like I love being, and you and I are very similar, where when we like something, we research everything about it. So I did so goddamn much. And I got to the point where like I would have friends who played longer than me, and they'd be like, I don't understand why. I'm like, oh, well, didn't you read in the patch notes? They reduced the damage from 90 to 40, and it's only substantial based on this and this and this.
People don't read patch notes? What the heck?
Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell?
How are you supposed to play the game?
So like I just started becoming like an encyclopedia for the game. Well, while I was playing, I met possibly, arguably one of the most famous casters from League, because he was in my actual ranked game, which was Rivington the Third.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Riv.
and so I met Riv, and in all fairness, this was not a good time for me. This was when Ken was a rager.
Sure.
And I was screaming, breaking things, everything, and like I was cursing up a storm that game. And Riv's like, bro, look, here's the thing, man. Like, just calm down, relax. You have to understand, you have to take each game by game, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you're doing amazing. He's like, and I understand it sucks that these people aren't. He's like, but you need to calm down. And I was like, no, fuck this shit. Blah, blah. And I was like, you're not even the real Rivington the Third. He's like, I'm not. And I was like, no. And then he's like, okay, can I prove it to you? And I was like, sure. So he added
here we go.
me, and then he added me on Skype at the time.
Right.
Discord wasn't really a huge thing then.
Mhm.
And then I looked at his Skype profile, and I was like, oh, I fucked up. Like, oh no, like I'm gonna get banned. Like this is it. This
guy's a rager. Get him out of here. Okay.
Yeah, dude. So like I freaked out, and he was super cool. We actually became duo queue partners for a while, which was awesome.
Nice.
And through him, I got super excited about them going to PAX. So I went to my first PAX. I met Feral Pony, who was the co-designer for like Graves, Rumble. He designed Heckram. He did Fizz, bunch of characters in the game.
Awesome.
And I met him, talked to him, and we became friends. And then one night while I was watching, do you remember Phantom Lord?
God.
Oh yeah.
That asshole? Yeah.
Okay, so here's oh god, it's such a point of contention for me. He was a good friend of mine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and there's so much involved in it, and I just hate it. And my god. Anyway, so all I'm gonna say on that, because I don't want to get into that.
Sure.
Way too much drama. But like, essentially, all I will say is the James that I knew was one of the nicest, most caring people I've ever met. He literally got his community to pay for my girlfriend to go to the season 2 world finals with me just so I could go. Like, he literally stopped all donations on his Twitch to go to me.
Wow. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And like I mean, I know there's a lot involved with it, and until he finally, until everything's finally washed out of the courts, we're never going to really know to a certain degree. But there's still part of me, even with the amount of evidence that is amassed against him, I still hope, because the man that I knew,
you knew him personally.
Yeah, it was just so different than the public.
Yeah, all
persona.
All I know is from the articles and from all the videos and all that stuff.
I don't judge anyone. And like, in all fairness, there's a lot of evidence. So like, I get it, but it doesn't mean good people can't make bad decisions.
Sure.
So, like, to me, it's like that he's not beyond all redemption. However, a safe space is a good thing. Like, not a safe space, but safe space between us is a good thing.
You and I agree on those things.
Yeah. So, but I was a mod on his chat, and one night I died in a game, and I just started casting it. And he was like, dude, you're better than most of the casters. He's like, what the fuck? And I was like, well, I just study. And then he's like, you should do this. And so he held like this literally for me, no profit of his own. He held this little like amateur tournament and casted it with me.
Oh, cool.
Then at World Finals 2, he brought me out, or, I went out. I actually ran his first like fan meetup, and we casted live games there. Well, because of that, Feral Pony found out about that, told me he really wanted to be a caster, and we started casting amateur tournaments. Then we started casting for this awesome charity organization, which was amazing.
Okay.
And I just started casting over and over again, and I realized, someone's like, why aren't you streaming this? So I started on Own3D, and I actually had so many damn followers and active viewers. Now, I know it's not about quantity, it's about the quality of the viewer. But it feels nice to log in to like 500 people watching, and you're just like, oh yeah, you guys are waiting for this.
Oh yeah.
And we used to like, we had official Riot prizes. We had all this stuff. Yeah, we were giving out like the triumphant Rise skins for winning actual sanctioned tournaments and stuff. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like we were we were getting there, you know, like we were actually ending up on like pro streams and stuff like that. And it was really cool. Made me feel great. Own 3D got shut down.
Yeah.
And I lost everything.
Everything I loved is gone.
Everything. Yeah. And like, there was no way to contact my viewers because the site went down. So there was no way to like let people to know where I was going. At the time I didn't have a Twitter, so they couldn't even follow me. I was not social media adept. I had a personal Facebook and that was it.
Right.
So eventually I started back up on Twitch, went to there, you know, slowly been off and on with Twitch over the last few years. I've taken my breaks for mental reasons, just because Twitch can be very straining. And I actually put myself in the hospital. And then I also got into, because of all the casting that I did with League of Legends, that got me into the Potato Monster casting, which was an amazing experience to cast for Overwatch and PUBG.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's my story.
That's super tight.
Version.
That's super tight, man. That's like, it's rare you see someone getting started on Twitch, at least in my experience, with being connected, at least in some way, early on. That's super tight.
Right.
That's super tight. Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
So that was that's how I got started, and I mean I love it. The experience is unlike any other. For those of you who don't stream out there, or anyone listening on the podcast later on, it's fun. It really is. It can be the most rewarding thing. Like, I've been brought to tears on stream before, and it's like there's, you know, you have an area where you can just be you, and you can also be someone else, which is awesome. But like for me, I find it most rewarding that I can just be me, and the people who click, they click. If they don't click, they don't like it, you know, that's cool. There's a million other people out there for you to click with.
100%.
If there's people who go into my stream even for like 10 minutes and they're like, dude, this guy's funny, or like, this guy doesn't give a shit, or like whatever.
Yeah, you just be yourself, and then the people you would normally... What I like about it most, and I feel like this is exactly what you're saying, is that there's somebody out, there's a content creator out there for every kind of person. Like, if you want to go to a channel and you want like cringy, freaking, like paid donation videos with meme songs, well, there's plenty of those people out there. If you want to go for good gameplay, great. You want to go for good conversation, done. You want to go for good community, like an actual community that's like positive and like reinforced stuff. There's all, hell, if you want to go for raging, slamming keyboard gameplay, that exists too.
In all fairness, that's how Phantom Lord became popular.
There you go.
Like, he became popular because he was known as a raging Karthus, but he was the one who invented Teleport Karthus.
I remember that, actually. I remember watching
Teleport Karthus.
I remember watching those, and I was like, wow, this is actually a decent strat. Let me like try this out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then it was big memes, and everyone was like, oh, Phantom Lord 2.0 over here. And I was like, no, please.
Yeah,
stop.
And then he went into CSGO,
and then the whole thing happened, but yes. That's very interesting.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. It's like, you know, to me, I always laugh. You know, at least my humor back in the day, I would say, was a little bit less refined. But like, I would say, like, the fact that he would get so angry, scream, he broke like 18 headsets.
Oh gosh.
Like, it was hilarious. Like, just watching him freak out over this game, that to me was like, you know, like, now that I had, I guess, recovered from being a raging person, like, I was just like, wow, dude, like, this is amazing.
It's like Tyler One still does that, you know, scream into the mic. And did you see the clip of Tyler One? He's like showing off his dinner to the camera, and it's like spaghetti and like chicken, and it just falls off, and he just looks down and looks up, and he starts crying, like actual tears, like it's hilarious. That kind of stuff exists,
and
you know. So.
You know, it's great, it's funny, and you know, because of streams, this all exists. These opportunities exist for people, and whether you stream through Twitch, whether you stream through Mixer, whether you stream through
Facebook,
you know, Facebook, YouTube, everything, like, there is opportunity for anyone, and and you don't have to do it for the monetary or the you know, even the number game. Sometimes it's just cathartic.
If I did it for money, I would have stopped a long time ago, because
homie?
Like, that's what I'm saying, because there's no I could talk at length, and the next time we have you on, I would love to know your thoughts on this. I could talk at length about, as an advertiser in the day, chat, one of the things that I talk about is the innate value of a brand, face value. And on Twitch, which is a platform that is predominantly male, a white straight male, which is what I am, and I'm not going into identity politics, I'm simply stating facts right now. There's a million. That's exactly, you filthy. There's a million other me's on Twitch. So from a pure face value, I am not diverse enough, right, for ease of access, right? Someone else who is any other combination of things, right? It is not easier for them. It's not easier for them on Twitch, but it is easier to be noticed, demographically speaking. That's what we're talking about right now, purely demographics, right? And because of my, shall we say, face value similarity to a lot of these other streamers, we haven't really gotten a lot of numbers. Quote, a lot of numbers. With that being said, you best believe I am damn proud of the community that we've built, that we've made, and all the people that show up, whether it's once a month or once a day. I love all the people in this community, and this is like, you mentioned like tearing up on stream. I've had a couple moments where chat has tried to break me. Like just donated, subbed. They coordinated resub notifications. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, stop. Well, I'm like, well, it was while I was playing PUBG and like a top 10, and they're like, break them, like drop the bits, drop the donos, and I'm like, no, please. With all this being said, like, I don't stream for the money. I stream for the community, right? And I feel like you're like very, very similar. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's no point. There's no part of us that doesn't like the idea of making money.
Oh, of course. If I'm putting in work, I would like to get paid. But I'd rather help somebody who's not feeling very good today laugh or put on a fun show for people to enjoy and get paid eventually, because it's going to happen. It's not a question of if, but a question of when. I have that much drive. And you see this with a lot of newer streamers. They come in and they're like, "How do you do it?" I'm like, "You just be consistent."
Yep.
That's what it comes down to.
Every time I get so many questions, they're like, you work for a YouTube with 1.3 million subs. How do you do it? And every time the answer for everything, and this goes back to the whole, this even goes back to like the voice actors. You want to know how you do it? You do it and you be consistent with it. You keep working towards it. One of my favorite phrases is always be a student.
I love that. Yes. And it's so true, and this is coming from somebody who does not have a college degree, chat. Like, I'm self-taught with everything, and part of me, when I was growing older, had to internalize that I don't know everything. In fact, I don't know anything comparatively. Right. So here I am trying to go learn things, right?
Forever a student, hashtag forever a student, hashtag always be a student, whatever, but like, always learn. One of my favorite sayings was, always be the dumbest person in the room. Mm-hmm.
And if you're the smartest, find another room.
Right. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, you have nothing to learn from.
Mm-hmm. Not going to get anything out of that.
Gain. Yeah. And like, that's why surround yourself with better people. Surround yourself with people you want to learn from, people you admire. And,
right.
Like I literally, I don't know why it took me this long, but I'm surrounded by 2 software engineers, 4 mechanical engineers, 3 electrical engineers, in like people that I talk to probably once a week, group friends, and like maybe twice or maybe once every 2 weeks. And it took me that long to go, you know what? Maybe I should go into engineering. Like, there might be something about
if you like it. I actually wanted to be an engineer when I was younger, and I interned at a place actually with Time Thor. Time Thor was working there, and I interned there when I want to say when I was 17, 16, and I hated it. And yes, that was this one agency, but it kind of soured me to the whole thing. So I was like, I'm just not going to do this.
I'm doing software engineering and like, I hate coding, but this goes back to my whole epiphany that I had, where essentially you're spending 40 hours a week doing something so the rest of your life can be amazing. Mm-hmm. And like, everyone's on the search, and that's the worst part. College tells you to find a job you love. That is not their fucking job. They should tell you to find a job that makes you yes, jobs can make you happy, fulfilled. Right. But who gives a shit? You spend 40 hours a week there. Find something that makes the rest of your life amazing.
Right. It's not about like the job. Right. It's not about just the job. And I think that's what you're kind of saying too. Like, I know plenty of people that don't necessarily love what they're doing. Right. They're not like, it's not like, my job is my dream. It's not their dream. Right. In this example.
Right.
But their job lets them pay for and afford other things. right? It lets them, like, their happiness is providing for their family. Their happiness is being able to afford vacations to go on, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, you're in this dream job. Like, I remember I worked at restaurants. I was a bartender. You think I liked cleaning up ice and
you would be a great
serving drinks? So
bartender.
thanks, man. Thanks, man. I had some definitely good times. This was in Northern Virginia, and we had a lot of sender's aides coming in. It was, boy, the stories that I have some stories. It was crazy. When the government shutdown happened, we said, if you're a senator's aide, show us your badge, whatever. Free shot. If you're a senator, double price. Like, it was just to, like, you know, we had some people come in, they were like, this is ridiculous. Be like, yeah, it's weird. You know, I can't walk into my boss and say, yeah, I don't want to work today, but apparently you can. So we make them charge double. So it was not very fun. But oh my gosh. So this I always say this whenever I enjoy the conversation. It's been an hour and a half, and I want to keep on talking. But
let's go.
I think we have to cut it. I think we have to cut it purely for, like, file size stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
that's right.
Yeah. So because I have, like, other stuff I want to put up this month. So hey, I'm gonna give you the floor. Plug whatever you want to plug. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Shad0wThe3Fall3n. You get the final word, buddy. Go for it.
All right. So if you guys want to follow me, it is super complicated for anyone listening. But it is Shad0wThe3Fall3n. That is Sierra Hotel Alpha Delta 0 Whiskey Tango Hotel 3 Foxtrot Alpha Lima Lima 3 November. Can you tell how many times I've had to do that? So you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me anywhere. Everything is all linked to that name. Twitch, everything. I think it's just a little bit more consistent. Whether or not I should have linked everything to a very long and complicated name, I don't know. But I do. I stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The times are posted. Monday kind of switches up depending on what's going on or what I'm doing for the stream. Wednesday and Friday are both at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go pretty much until we go. There is no necessary set time. I am nocturnal in general. Other than that, I mean, you can see me at cons all over the country. I tend to do celebrity security, so if you run into me, please come up, say hi, let's talk. You want to talk school, business, theoretical physics, I don't care. Let's talk about it. I enjoy it. I love it all, and I'm always willing to learn if I don't. And yeah, I don't. Am I supposed to do anything else?
I think you're good. I think you're good.
This is my first podcast.
What do I do with my hands?
Popping my podcast cherry, and yeah, I've been talking with my hands the whole time. I'm so Italian.
Yeah, same. I've been keeping them below the thing, so it's just like yeah, totally. Yeah.
Every time, like, I keep doing this with my hands because I'm like, don't just like chill. I'm doing like this because I'm like, don't make yourself seem out there and stuff. So and
for those of you that don't want to remember the letters he typed in, I will be including a link in the YouTube version of this, as well as a link in any platform that this goes on, iTunes, all that stuff, Spotify.
I guess I do have a YouTube, but like that hasn't been updated in a long time. It's the same thing.
That's
like
fair.
Literally, it's so easy to follow me because it's everything similar to you, almost like branding is a thing.
It is. Well, thanks again, Shadow. It's been good to pick your brain. We'll definitely have you on again. You're one of the people I enjoy talking to. Okay. Yeah. So we'll definitely get you on here.
Next time, can we we need to set like topics beforehand?
Sure.
Because otherwise,
I don't know. I kind of like to shoot the shit.
Dude, we'll get back to WoW somehow. I know it. I know
we will. But like, I'm thirsty. You know who else is thirsty? Not anybody in the world tree, because they're dead. It's like,
oh my god, dude. I don't know how it'll just come back. But thank you so much for having me, dude. This was a blast. First off, I just love catching up with you. You're amazing.
Of course. I love talking about it.
If anyone is listening to this and they don't follow Loru, what are you doing with your life? You need to fix this. He is one of the best, like hands down, one of the nicest people in the community. And this is not coming from, oh, I'm on his podcast. This is coming from a guy who I met with the biggest scowl on his face. And now, like, I literally want to like travel the country to see him. He is one of the greatest people in the industry. Fuck the numbers, fuck the monetary gains of anything. Spend your time with this man. You will feel loved, you will feel rewarded, and it is 100% worth it.
Thanks, buddy.
I cannot thank you enough. I am so appreciative for your friendship, for your constant pumping, everything, man. I just appreciate it.
A constant pumping? Why?
Yeah, man. You're like pumping me up.
Oh, gosh,
also,
I was like,
pumping.
pumping. Okay.
I like not being able to touch my shoulder.
I know. I still can, but that's fine. So, fantastic. Well, hey, it's been great having you on. We'll definitely have you back, and I'm going to fade you out now. I will talk to you soon, buddy.
Bye, guys.
See you soon, bud. Chat, that is Shad0wThe3Fall3n. Hope you enjoyed this live podcast. Remember, if you're listening to us post-fact, you can, well, actually, I'm going to cut that part from the podcast. This is recorded live at mixer.com/LoremIrth. We will definitely have Shad0wThe3Fall3n back on. We will be including, like I said, links to all of his pertinence in, no matter what platform you're on, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, it will be able to be linked to his channel. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Appreciate the conversation in the Mixer chat. I hope to see you again. I'm going to cut it right now. And those of you that are listening live, you get a little bit of an extra tidbit. Those of you that will be on the platforms get our recorded outro. But those of you that are listening to us live, we'll be live on Twitch in just a little bit. We're going live on Twitch with some Elder Scrolls Online. I must forego the WoW. You've heard me talking about it. It is an itch I must not scratch. We'll see you soon. Make sure you go follow Shadow over on Twitch for his weekly, daily live streams, all that good stuff. Shadow just pinged me. Scratch the itch. Nope, can't do it. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a fantastic evening. I'm going to go ahead and put up the end screen. There will be. When is our next live podcast? Let me consult the calendar. It looks like our next confirmed live podcast is going to be next week, the 22nd. But I believe I do have also a live podcast with heart support on the books for the week after. So we will be having all this good stuff coming in. Hope you have a fantastic time until we go live with the streaming. I see you, Rav. It's okay. You can join us over there and tell us more things. See y'all soon. Have a fantastic night. This has been another episode of the Sanctum Sessions podcast. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to follow or subscribe on all the big platforms. We're on all of them. This podcast is supported by our Patreon. Head over to patreon.loru.tv for exclusive podcast rewards. Special thanks to our Pinnacle patrons, Falinor Lighthawk and RJ Lynn. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time.